Application problems with the Pythagorean theorem. Recall that if A and B represent the lengths of the legs and C represents the length of the hypotenuse, the side opposite the right angle of a right triangle, then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. In our example, we have a rectangular park is 4 miles wide and 2 miles long. How far is the distance a person walks across the diagonal of the park? Answer as simplified radical and decimal to the nearest tenth. What we want to do is draw a picture. I'm going to draw a triangle, or to the right is a right triangle. And the reason I'm drawing a triangle is because we're concerned with the diagonal of this park. This really would be a rectangle, but I'm drawing the diagonal to make it a triangle as part of that. It's 4 miles wide, so at the base, the bottom of my rectangle, or my triangle, I'm going to put a 4 miles, and 2 miles long. That's what I'm going to make that the height of my triangle, or my rectangle. And we want to know the distance from corner to corner. So that would be, based on the Pythagorean theorem, that we have 4 squared plus 2 squared equals x squared. If we do that, we can simplify this. 4 squared is 16, and 2 squared is 4, so this will be 16 plus 4 equals x squared, or 20 equals x squared. And we can take the square root of both sides. Now, when we take the square root, we actually need a plus or minus. However, because we're talking about distance, only the positive root is important. The other isn't needed. So x is equal to the square root of 20. That can definitely be simplified because we have a perfect square that divides into 20. That is 4. So this would be 4 times 5. So this would be the square root of 4 is 2. So x is equal to 2 root 5 miles. That's the simplified radical. Now, if we use a calculator to find out what 2 times the square root of 5 is, that is approximately 4.47, so 4.5 miles. All right, for our next example, we have the diagonal of a TV set is 26 inches long. Its length is 14 inches more than the height. Find the dimensions of the TV set. So again, I'm going to draw a rectangle for my picture. It's above my problem. We'll draw a rectangle here. Now we're told the diagonal is 26 inches, so I'm going to draw in a diagonal so that I have a triangle as part of this. My diagonal is 26. I'll go ahead and label that. 26 inches. Now the length is 14 inches more than the height. So the bottom of my rectangle I'm going to label as h, that's my height, plus 14, because it's 14 inches more than the height. Now the height of my rectangle I'm going to label as h. I can apply, because a rectangle is, in fact, two right triangles, I can apply the Pythagorean theorem to determine that h plus 14 as a quantity squared plus h squared equals 26 squared. Those are my two legs, h plus 14 and h, and my diagonal, my hypotenuse, is 26. Well, if I multiplied h plus 14 by itself, this would be h squared plus 28h plus 14 squared is 196. I'll bring down the plus h squared, and that'll be equal to 26 squared, which is 676. Now this is a quadratic equation, so I'm going to move everything to the left side and combine like terms. I'll subtract 676 and combine these two h squared terms so that I have 2h squared plus 28h minus 480 equals 0. And this is why it's an application of a quadratic. We now can use factoring or the quadratic formula. Well, the first thing I notice is that we have three terms that are all divisible by 2. So we'll factor out a greatest common factor of 2 to be 2 parentheses h squared plus 14h minus 240 close parentheses equals 0. And actually 240 is 24 times 10. 24 and 10. Let's go ahead and label that. Negative 240. Factors are 24 and 10. We could make that a 24 and a negative 10. So that those add to be 14. So that this factors as 2 times h plus 24 quantity multiplied by the quantity h minus 10, and that equals 0. Since it's in factored form, we know that h is equal to negative 24 or positive 10. Because we're talking about dimensions, negative 24 doesn't make any sense. So our height is equal to 10, and our length, because it is 14 more than that, is 24. So these are 10 inches by 24 inches are the dimensions of that TV.